On Breakfast with Vossy and Brandy, the back page with David Riccio. When automation is key to your business's success, trust Conveyor Logistics for your warehouse automation solutions.
Morning, David.
Hey, good morning, boys.
The meaning of life with the 360 gang. It was unexpected but very enjoyable.
Yes. Well, boys, there's not a day that goes by I don't pick up the phone to Buzz or Reedy, even Gordy, just to ask, how am I travelling, boys? What is the meaning of life? It was quite interesting. It was, and a bit of fun. I'm with you guys. I loved it. And yeah.
Well, why they had that conversation too? We'll just play the Nicho Hynes grab again last night. Not that we need to go down the rabbit hole, but this was Nicho Hynes. This was what sparked it all, talking about pressure in his life.
It's just natural. It comes, and you just got to embrace it. You got to take the good with the bad, and don't ride the highs too high, and don't ride the lows too low, and just deal with it. And not worried about it. I'm got a good, healthy life. My life isn't defined on an 80-minute game of football.
I believe him, but there's people on the text line, David, that say no, he's just talking himself into it. But you probably know Nicho better than Brandy or I. Oh, no, Brandy's had a bit to deal with him in Origin and that. I don't really know Nicho other than he strikes me as incredibly impressive. Nicho Hynes, that's all. He'd actually believe that and live that?
Yeah, look, in the serious stakes, guys, for my job at the Telegraph, I probably cover the Sharks more than any other journo at the Telly. So I'm down there. I'm down at training at least once a week. Nicho's like if he's not the first player to training most mornings, he's one of. And there's a couple of other considerations here too, guys. That syndesmosis injury and fractured foot, you don't come back 2 weeks ahead of schedule and fight with the physios to come back 3 weeks ahead of schedule and lose that battle. Come back 2 weeks ahead of time if you're not completely invested in the club, in the team, and the performance. Nicho is an amazing ambassador for the game, for the Sharks, and absolutely has more motivations to have an impact off the field as what he does on the field. But to think that his comments were some type of suggestion that he's not completely 100% invested in the Sharks and the NRL, I couldn't disagree more.
All righty, let's move on. Roosters look like they're going to extend James Tedesco, so he's already signed for next year. So he's locked in for 25, David, but are they going to extend him for 26?
It looks that way. Absolutely looks that way. And look, guys, I've got to say, this is important as far as I see the Roosters going forward with the vacuum of experience that's leaving the footy club in relation to Luke Cleary, Jared Warrior-Hargraves, Joey Manu. We know Joey Suolii's going to rugby. They've already gone through this huge experience transition and departure of so many great players from the Roosters over the past 2-3 seasons. And James Tedesco, take away the blistering performance of the weekend away, he's been fantastic all season. And any suggestion that, let's put it this way, imagine if we thought that next year was James Tedesco's last year. You'd just go, well, he's playing too good a footy. You can't. All your planning's done now. Contracts need to be sorted and rosters sorted now. You absolutely re-sign him on everything he's achieved this year. So I think it's an important move, not only to keep one of the best fullbacks at your club, but for the future of the Roosters as they go through this next transition phase, certainly next season, with so many guys leaving the club.
That's right. Well said. Just on James, like if you thought, well... And maybe they were thinking that last year, David. Maybe the Roosters were thinking, Teddy probably only has one more left in him. But that does seem ludicrous to say that right now, doesn't it? After the season that he has just had, and the as you said, the vacuum of experience, we'll see. I think they'll extend him, and that's probably a good move. Now, the Panthers, there's a bit. We've got some audio. Liam Martin speaking about Nathan Cleary. Let's hear a little bit of Liam Martin first.
He's obviously a massive loss. Like, I think he's the best player in the game, so obviously he's massive. But we've won games without him, so I think if he wasn't there, then everyone would step up. But I sure know I'd much rather be playing with him.
Well, I think that's the obvious. Okay, right now, Melbourne are peak of their powers. I think this is the best Melbourne have been since their last premiership. Maybe not quite as good as their last premiership winning side, but certainly very good. If Cleary, not death riding him, of course, want him to be there, but if Cleary wasn't there and Penrith had to play Melbourne in a decider, is it enough to sway you Melbourne's way? Would Penrith beat Melbourne without Cleary, boys, hypothetically?
Very hard to do that. There's no doubt Melbourne would be the favourites. If Cleary wasn't there, Melbourne would certainly be the favourites, and that's a massive challenge for the Panthers to overcome.
Yeah, I agree. Melbourne would definitely be favourites. Guys, I genuinely give the Roosters a big chance down in Melbourne, and I see everything that you see, Vossy, in the Storm. But this is an elite roster the Roosters have got that can deliver on their day, and will go down there. And as we've already heard from Victor Radley yesterday, talking about how we need to go down there and play violent. We won't be scared. We'll be the aggressors. They're going down with a headstrong mentality of taking the Storm on. And I just come away, as good as Melbourne were, statistically, off the charts against the Cronulla Sharks. They did only lead 14-10 at half-time, and had Cronulla got their act together, they could have got back into that game, except for their own ill-discipline. The Roosters need to go down there, and surely the Melbourne Storm understand that the Roosters are going to come down, and they're not going to have that statistical advantage again. Like, it was almost an anomaly. 35% possession from the Sharks. So I give the Roosters a red-hot chance. And just on Nathan, look, again, we're just seeing the bravery of this halfback, an absolute champion. But again, it will be a must-watch part of this weekend's match against the Sharks on how he manages to get through this game with the shoulder. Now, at training sessions, Maverick Geyer has been the guy that's been absolutely putting Nathan to the test. We've seen in previous seasons Viliami Kickout play that role of the crash test dummy, basically, of putting Nathan through his paces. This week it's been Maverick Geyer. So we know Nathan. He'll do everything he can to stay out on the field, but you can't deny, given the innocuousity of the way it unfolded, the way he injured himself last time around, that there has to be a thread of concern that it could happen again in either this weekend or in the grand final.
Yeah, that's true.
Hope not.
Just one out of left field, Ben Hunt. Again, that story was raised yesterday. So the contract for 2026 is definitely off the table, David. And would it be possible for Ben Hunt to find a club and the Dragons release him for 2025?
Look, you never say never, Brady. But the catch is, excuse me, the catch is St. George Illawarra need a replacement.
Halfback.
And right now, you're not going to just let Ben Hunt go without some type of coverage of where you're going as a football club without Ben Hunt. And that's where Saints sit. So until an alternative option comes on the table, there'll be no release. You're not just going to release him for release sake. He's got a contract. He'll stay at Saints. But look, as I said, never say never, because if Saints get another option that they like, then sure enough, we could see some movement.
Yeah.
All right. I reckon we get a text about Ben Hunt the moment you come on every single day. There's Dragons fans just want to know. They want to know. And Ben Hunt certainly in the news. Whether he wants to be or not, he just is and will be all off-season. Now, injury crisis could lead Shaun Johnson to make a comeback from short-lived retirement. Now, I saw that headline. Please explain.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be quite extraordinary, guys. But it'd be one of the shortest-lived retirements we've seen. It's a real situation for new Kiwi coach Stacey Jones. He's got a half and hooker crisis as far as injury is concerned. No Dylan Brown, no Kieran Fawn, no Joey Manu, no Brandon Smith, no Jeremy Marshall-King. Now, that either due to injury and in Manu's case, off to rugby union. Now, it's led to the real prospect of Shaun Johnson. Well, I can tell you this.
Yeah.
A conversation's already been had between Stacey Jones and Johnson. Look, where would you be at? Just keep yourself training, just in case. And it'll be interesting, guys, because it'll unfold in the next 2 weeks on whether Johnson makes a comeback for the Kiwis in the upcoming Pacific Champions just due to this injury crisis. In addition to that, Phoenix Crossland, guys, Newcastle Knights utility, he's right in the frame from Stacey Jones. Just as
Kiwi?
I said, he's got so many outs
he was
at
a
this point in
Kiwi?
time.
Phoenix Crossland?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a Kiwi.
Yeah, born in Wellington.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be fascinating. If Johnson comes back, it'll be one hell of a story.
Wouldn't that be nice? What about that? And they back it up
good,
and win the Pacific Championship. No, it's very realistic. A little bit of other rugby league news. I came across this grab, David. It might be one you want to follow up on for the Telegraph. But Lee Breers, who was coaching at the Broncos, he's gone now back to England, finished his time at the Broncos. He has described Payne Haas as the best ever. So impressed was he with Payne Haas. He went on record as saying the best ever, Payne Haas. So huge rap for
best
Lee
front rower.
Breers for, well, I think pretty much everything. Best trainer, he'd seen, just physical athlete, because he's a big figure. Like, he runs fast. And so Lee Breers, massive praise for Payne Haas. And also to the Super League, boys, I'll get your opinion on this one. Brad Arthur coaching at Leeds. Now, Leeds have missed the finals. Finished level on points. So they missed out on points differential. That was always going to be the case late in the season. But he's going to keep training the side for another 2 weeks. And I know some NRL clubs have done that in the past. Ricky may have done that. What's your thoughts on that? We'll start with you, Brandy. After you get knocked out and you've got to train for another 2 weeks, I mean, what are those sessions like? Are you a supporter of that?
No. Is that Brad Arthur or his doppelganger, Brad Arthur?
No, Brad Arthur. No, Brad Arthur is doing that at Leeds. How's that going to go down?
Brad Arthur would know better to do that. But Brad Arthur, well, he might have tumbled in rookie stuff. That's rookie error.
David, who was the last one to do it? I'm sure Ricky might have done it all the way up to grand final day.
Yeah,
that was a while back. He said, well, they're paid until then. We expected to be playing in September, so we will train. I understand the toughness of that mentality, but does it go down well with the players?
Yeah, that was, and I reckon if the RLPA and the new CBA, if the RLPA didn't have their mitts all over clubs, as far as where they've come from, Ricky would be still doing the same thing. Yeah, and that's the mentality of Ricky. But as I said, under the new regulations, players need such and such weeks off now, and off they toddle for holidays, and they'll be back into it in the next couple of weeks. But I'm sure there'd be coaches that would love nothing more than to keep going. I will say this: the coaches are still going. I'm still talking to a lot of the coaches that are
good point.
Coaches are out of play, and they're busy working away.
Vossy, did Leeds finish the season on the back of a stinker, like a really ordinary performance?
No, it was decided beforehand. No, decided beforehand, and as I said, they finished level with St Helens and Catalans. I think they all finished the same, those three clubs. And, so St Helens, Catalans, Leeds all finished the same, and now in the knockout phase, Wolves to play St Helens, Salford to play Lee. And kicking back this weekend to the Warriors and Hull KR. That's the story from the Super League. David, so you gave us with you didn't really give much on the meaning of life. What is your meaning of life? Do you want to share that before you do your regular sign-off? Do you want to go somewhere deep with us? Just something, more than go well. Can you give us something about life and how we should live it?
Vossy, there is nothing deeper than go well. That's
No,
what
that's
I
true.
bring to the table. No. That is me. Thank you. Thank
We
you.
applaud that. Now, stay
Aside
strong,
from-
David. Stay strong.
Yeah, look, there's only one other piece of advice I will pass on, and that is that when I'm feeling Brandy, I'm feeling Brandy.
Chuck, have you got any of the... No. Oh, come on.
Come on.
And that, David, that
Feeling
was for
Brandy.
conveyor logistics, for your warehouse automation solutions. That's beautifully said.
Have a
Goodbye.
lovely day, David. Oh, hang on a second. No, he hadn't done the official. Hang on. David, you haven't given us the official go. Well, you've spoken about it, but hang on. I'm lost.
I was
I'm
there.
lost.
Yeah.
Oh, you are there.
Hey, thank you,
Oh,
boys. Go well.
Thank you. Whew, wow. Whew. That could have been off a cliff for the rest of the day. Thank you for that. David Riccio talking all things rugby league. Brian Gorshin coming on the program today. We're going to play the Gorge. Mike Wells. We're going to revisit Mike Wells, the Adelaide 36ers blow-up before the first game of the season. Brandy, you weren't here on Friday when we played this bloke, dead set unhinged.
What, pre-game? Pre-game chat?
No, during the week. During the
Right.
week at training.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely lost it. So we'll play that, the Gorge. And we're also with Lee Hadji-Pentelis today. Get your head around this. Love to hear your cases on the text line. Have you hit anyone on a golf course with a golf
Or
ball?
been hit.
Or have you been hit? Yes. And how did it then play out? How did it unfold? Have you been threatened with legal action? It's something we're going to talk about today with Lee Hadji-Pentelis. We are here for Bryden's Lawyers. Best legal advice. You got that number handy, Brandy?
1-800-848-848.